This is a wood that most people don't associate with being in a Bentley or an automobile at all, and the color and so forth. But this is oak burl, English oak burl, with a certain amount of faded color in the finish that's contributing to the kind of deep gold color that it is. But nonetheless, it is close to this color. This is a set of wood, as you might have guessed, out of a Bentley. It's a 99 Continental T, and it's a two-door. These are the long doors, the driver's side and passenger side, passenger side, driver's side, and the rear quarter caps in the back seat, small back seat. The rest of the wood here is comprised of the dash instrument fascia and this piece. Then it goes into the center console, comes down to the flat console, and these are door panels that go into the lower part of the door and accent the speaker grills. In addition to being a little bit unusual as an oak burl, it's a good demonstration of cracked finish. Two things that people think is, in general, about wood, and particularly wood interior of cars, is that the faded color or the color is the changing of the wood and not the finish, whereas in fact about all of this color discoloration between this and a refinish is going to be the old finish picking up color and becoming a little opaque, so you get greater clarity when it's refinished and a sharper distinction between the grain values. The other thing they think is that the finish cracks independently. That if you can see here, all the cracks that are riddled through this piece, these two fascias of the speakers, door panels, this center console piece, this instrument fascia, and these two finishers in the dash are heavily riddled with cracks. And that cracking, and when I'm saying crack, of course I haven't distinguished between crack in the finish and crack in the wood. And what it is, as we've spoken before, is we're dealing with veneer, which is about 25 thousandths thick. That's the oak burl in this case. And it's applied to a substrate. And that substrate in this fascia is plywood. In this piece, it's metal. In the door and the rear quarter caps, it's going to be solid lumber, in this case poplar and mahogany. So the substrates vary a little bit, but at what level is this cracking? And again, I think it's a good demonstration to show that all this cracking that we see at the surface is, of course, the finish that's cracked. Now, the finish is cracked. Does that crack independently of anything else that comprises these wood trim pieces? Experience tells me that that kind of cracking, that kind of puckering, those spider cracks that are on this fascia of the console, that finish is cracking because there's movement underneath it and that the veneer cracked and moved and puckered, and it telegraphs upward from the veneer to the finish. It's not that the finish cracks independently. So we will treat this, and how does one treat this? We've spoken about this before. Certainly we can anybody can strip this and finish it and have a good looking piece if it's done properly. But what about longevity? What about the forces that were acting on this finish in the past? Will they act on the new finish? And the chances are yes. And the way to help stabilize this, anything one can do to stabilize this veneer, is going to add to the longevity of the new finish. If we merely put the finish over the existing veneer, chances are it's going to crack in a relatively short period of time. So our recommendation to the owner, or we're dealing with a Rolls-Royce Bentley dealership in this case, and so we will communicate with them. They've obviously seen the cracks, that's why the wood is here. But to let them know that for the sake of longevity, it's going to be better to treat this wood after it's stripped to reinforce the veneer and reestablish the glue bond to the substrate. So we'll be back, as always, with a finished set in a little bit of time, probably about 2 weeks.